Alright, we got Chapter 8. The Cheese Squeeze Club. An exhausted Ragweed slept all day. Once, twice he woke, found a few stale crumbs to nibble, then dropped back to sleep. He did not really open his eyes until Clutch woke him. "Hey, dude, don't you think you've shaked enough?" she demanded. "Is it morning?" Ragweed asked with a yawn. "Mouse, you country dudes get here. The first thing you do is sleep for a week." Ragweed sat up. "Did I sleep that much? Hey, how about, like, all day? It's night already, man. You have anything in gear?" "In gear?" Ragweed said that he got up slowly and stretched. Like doing? "I don't think so." "Why not come over to my club with me?" Clutch suggested. "Catch my band. Meet some cool mice." Ragweed sighed. "I'm afraid I don't know what a band or a club is," he admitted. Clutch laughed. "You know what I like about you, dude?" "No." "Most dudes, when they don't know something, they're too frail to ask questions. Not you. You're a diesel, Mouse. I mean, truly excellent. Okay, a band is a bunch of dudes playing music, and like a club is a place where friends meet. Some band music, and you can mac out on crumbs and cheese. There's dancing too. One sweet scene. We call it the Cheese Squeeze Club, and—" "Clutch," Ragweed interrupted. "What?" I don't know what diesel, mac out, or cheese even mean." Open-mouthed, Clutch stared at Ragweed for a long time. "You tugging me, dude?" "I'm telling you the truth." "Awesome," the green-headed mouse murmured. "You are the whole thing plus chips. Okay, like, a diesel is a motor, like powerful. Mac out means, well, eat. And cheese is, well, killer food. Trust me, it's made from milk. The point is, you hot to trot?" I guess." "Okay, remember what I told you before? Keep your eyes peeled for Silver Sides. We don't want to mess with her and her pale gray bar. See, we keep the club, like, secret. Don't want to have the cats find it. You know what I'm saying?" "I think so." Clutch removed her guitar from its place on the wall, then picked up a wafer of pale wood to which tiny wheels were attached front and back. "What's that?" Ragweed asked. "Like, basically, Ragweed," Clutch replied with a grin, "you are one played-out nerd. You know what I'm saying? It's my skateboard, dude, my wheels. Where you been?" In the country?" "Well, like, welcome to Cementville." With care, Clutch pulled aside the wood block that covered the entry to her car and peered out to the street. After carefully checking in all directions, she said, "Cool, no cats." As soon as the two mice stepped onto the sidewalk, Clutch slid the piece of wood over the hole behind her. "In case you need to get it back in on your own," she said, "like, just give the wood a smack up here, dude." She banged along the top right corner. It popped open. "Otherwise, it gets stuck," she added, closing the hole again. Ragweed nodded. "Let's hit it," Clutch said, and dropped her skateboard to the ground. With one foot on the board and another one on the ground, she was still holding her guitar. She pushed off. She had barely gone a few feet when she popped the board up, getting a lot of air, then coming down smoothly, if loudly, on the pavement, feet firmly planted on the deck. This was followed by a second jump, in which, mid-air, Clutch spun around so that when she landed, she was facing Ragweed. "Wow," he said, "that's nice." He wanted to say cool, but he could not really get it out. "Called a 180, Clutch explained with a grin as she did another half turn and sped off, but not before grinding loudly along the edge of a curb. Next moment, she dropped off, did a maneuver high in the air. "An ollie, dude!" Then tore off, using first one foot to ride and then the other to shove. Then reversing herself. Ragweed had to run to keep up. As they went along, Ragweed was able to gain a better sense of Amberville, or at least the section known as Mousetown. It was too dark to see much, but he reminded himself, and the lights on long poles were not very effective. But most of what he saw appeared to be very run down. Human nests seemed abandoned. Windows were broken. Doors were shattered. The wide, dusty streets were littered with bits of paper, metal, and wood. Abandoned cars were everywhere. The only thing living was scraggly weeds growing through cracks in the pavement. Clearly it had once been a very busy place for humans, but not anymore. After 2 more blocks, Clutch announced, "Here we are." They had reached a small broken-down building. A dilapidated sign reading Sam's Shoe Sign, or Shoe Shine. Jeez, that's kind of hard to say. Sam's Shoe Shine. There you go. Hung over a door frame without a door. Clutch flipped her skateboard up and carried it over the threshold. Ragweed followed. Whatever structure there was on the inside of the building, inside all had collapsed. Broken beams and cracked wallboard created a ceiling barely 10 inches above the heads of the mice. Leading the way, Clutch moved right, then left, then right again. "We keep it tight," she explained, "like to keep the cats out if they ever find it, which I seriously doubt." At the end of the corridor, the 2 mice scrambled through a hole in the wall, entered an open area with a ceiling made of rusty screening. At the other side of the area was a counter. Behind it stood an enormously fat mouse with large ears, brown fur, and a scaly tail. He was offering up cracker crumbs and cheese to those who asked. "Mayor of Mousetown," Clutch said with a nod to the mouse, "goes by the name of Radiator." The area was alive with mice of many colors, shapes, and sizes. Ragweed noticed a few golden mice, some deer mice, a few short-tailed grasshopper mice, lots of house mice like Clutch, even an occasional metal jumping mouse. Ragweed had never seen so many different kinds of mice in one place. A few were alone. Most, however, were in groups about small piles of crumbs and cheese. Talk, loud, constant squeaking, made it hard to hear anything. "Hey, mouse, over here!" Clutch shouted over the din to Ragweed. "Meet my band buds." Clutch threaded her way through the crowd. "Hey, dude," Mice called out to her. "What's happening? What's up? Hey, sweetheart." In contrast, Ragweed bumped his way through the mice. "Excuse me, sorry, pardon, I do beg your pardon, thanks." Under the stares of the mice, he felt very much an outsider. "Hey, dudes, what's up?" Clutch cried. She had reached the far corner of the room. 2 very different mice were sitting about a small pile of crumbs. "This is my new bud, Ragweed," she announced. "Just trickled into town." The 2 mice looked up casually. Their faces showed no emotion. "This is Dipstick," Clutch went on. "One big band drummer. He's a grasshopper mouse." "Whatever," Dipstick murmured with a nod of his head. He had cinnamon-colored fur on his back, a white belly, and a white-tipped tail. Here's a picture of the mice. "And this dude is Lugnut," Clutch continued. "Pygmy mouse. Gray-brown in color. Lugnut was half the size of Ragweed, with tiny, delicate paws. His lidded eyes made him appear very sleepy. He's on the bass," Clutch explained. "Awesome noise." "What's up, dude?" Lugnut said to Ragweed in a soft drawl. "I'm very pleased to meet you both," Ragweed said. "Yo, mouse, whatever," Dipstick said. "Hunker down and toss a crumb." He gestured to the pile. "Thank you?" Ragweed sat down and, out of politeness, and took a bite. When's our set?" Clutch asked. "Soon." After a moment, Ragweed said, "What's a set?" Dipstick rolled his eyes. Lugnut darted an unbelieving glance at Ragweed, then at Clutch. "Hey, she said, "he just blew into town." "Yeah, right," Lugnut murmured. "A set is like our performance," he explained to Ragweed. 10, 12 tunes. We do 3 sets a night." Dipstick hopped up. "Anyone want something to drink?" Clutch looked at Ragweed. "What do they have?" Ragweed asked. Hold on. "Nectar, honey, water." "Water, thank you. Anyone else?" The other mice shook their heads. Dipstick went off. Ragweed watched the crowd. Most of the mice seemed to be arguing, yet without anger. He wondered that there was so much to talk about. Yeah, I guess. Then it dawned on him. These mice enjoyed squeaking at one another. He found it fascinating. Clutch leaned over to Lugnut. "This dude here," she indicated Ragweed, "gets off the train and who do you think is waiting to say hello?" Lugnut gazed at Ragweed. "Graybar? Silversides?" Clutch nodded. "Busted," Lugnut muttered. Dipstick came back with a bottle cap filled with water in one paw. He gave it to Ragweed. "Radiator says we're on," he announced. Clutch and Lugnut heaved themselves up. "Enjoy the sound," Clutch said. "Keep an eye on my deck, will ya?" "Deck?" Ragweed asked. "Skateboard. Oh, yeah, sure." Lugnut shook his head in disbelief as the trio eased their way through the crowd. Ragweed heard him say, "Your dude's an airhead." "Hey, like, he's funky," Clutch returned. "Yeah, right," Dipstick said. Ragweed sighed, drew in the skateboard, took a sip of water, then settled in to watch. For a moment he lost sight of his new friends, only to see them reappear on the far side of the room on what looked like a small platform. Dipstick seated herself amid a number of small tuna fish cans. Lugnut carried a large guitar made from a red plastic spoon and string. His guitar was bigger than the one Clutch had, and made the tiny mouse seem even smaller than he was. As for Clutch, she was in front of the other two, tuning her own guitar. Radiator, who had been behind the counter, waddled on up to the platform. "Okay, guys," he called out to the crowd. "Glad you could make it down here tonight to the Cheese Squeeze Club. Our house band, the B-Flat Tires, is gonna do a set. How about giving these cool dudes some Cheese Squeeze Club paw?" Some ragged applause and a few squeaks were heard. Clutch stepped forward. "How you dudes doing?" "Want some funk," came a reply. "Okay," Clutch continued. "We're one short tonight. Sorry to tell you, but Silverside's gaffled muffler." Moans and groans rose from the crowd. Clutch continued. "Hey, no one said being a mouse is easy. Nothing you can do about it but keep it on trucking. That's the way Muffler would want it, right?" "Right!" "So, let's get on to some sweet B-Flat Tires grooves. Anyway, we're dedicating tonight's show to Muffler. Okay?" She turned to her band and nodded her green head. 1, 2, 3. The music began. Ragweed was astonished. He had never heard such sounds before. There was a heavy, repetitious beat from Dipstick, who was flailing away on the tin cans with some twigs, making an awful racket. Every now and again, on a particularly strong beat, he leaped straight up into the air, high above his drums. Tiny Lugnut, all but hidden behind his red guitar, nodded to the beat, closed his eyes, and plucked the strings with great intensity as his tail lashed about wildly. As for Clutch, she bobbed her green-tinted head and bounced up and down as she played. Her earrings swung as her tail kept to the rhythm. Then in a hoarse voice she broke into a song. "Mouse in a box, thinks he's a fox, but he's just full of rage, living on life's lousy wage. 'Cause the world ain't cheese and can't say please. Hey, nothing is a snap, look out, here comes the trap. 'Cause the world ain't cheese and can't say please. 'Cause the world ain't cheese and can't say please. Look out, dudes, here comes the trap." The last line was repeated over and over and over again, with Dipstick and Lugnut joining in from time to time with their own close harmony. Meanwhile, out on the floor, a fair number of mice had gotten up and started to dance. They were gyrating, some holding their paws up and while they were turning, twisting, dipping, shaking, and hopping, with tails lashing out. Some mice even leaped straight up into the air above the crowd, squeaking and squealing as they came down. And yet, as Ragweed looked on, there was hardly a smile in the crowd. The dancers didn't even look at one another, but appeared to be more deeply involved in the music than aware of their partners. Some had their eyes closed, others stared fixedly up at the screen above or at their feet. As Clutch sang on, Ragweed found himself timidly tapping out the beat with his toes. Suddenly, there was an enormous crash. The startled musicians stopped playing. The dancing ceased. Every mouse in the club turned in the direction of the noise. For a moment, all was still. Then one of the club walls collapsed. Into the room burst Silverside's face. "Good evening, mice," she said, grinning so that all of her teeth were visible. "FEAR is here." Here's a cool picture. That was the end of the chapter 2.